This is episode 54 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, we continue our sport to fitness racing series number 4 with mile runners going over to Hyrox or fitness racing. JK has a little statement on aerobic fitness he wants to share. We get to see my lactate threshold graph that I just retested yesterday. We have a little banter about Team USA versus Team Australia. And JK and I tell some embarrassing running stories and encourage you to share yours. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you. All right, here we go. How's it going today, JK?
Very well, thank you, Mr. Pericini. 3 weeks out until I see your face. Is that correct?
3 weeks from today, we will be in Chicago. Around this time, it will be before your race. Let's see, that's 3.5 hours before your race at the time that we're recording.
2 hours before the girls kick off, and Anthony Pericini will be very, 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 very nervous.
No, I decided I'm not going to have that anxiety. I'm just going to go in there and just be ABC. Here we go.
And
no reason. I don't need to be giving my anxiety to any of the athletes I'm around. So
just on that, you never do, by the way. It's okay if you're nervous, but also I like that from you, because that tells me that you know that we've done the work and you're confident in our ability to do what we need to do.
Yeah, I am really confident. Actually, I think all you guys are going to be. I'm so excited. At least, I'm real excited for my athletes. I have 6 people competing, so 4 on the women's side, 2 on the men's side on Thursday night. I got a lot more than that in the relay, and then a lot more than that in the doubles too. So
nice.
3 straight days of elite racing, and then all day lead up stuff, and yeah, some fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is indeed, mate. 3 weeks counting down.
Yeah. I'm very excited. It's a big working weekend for me. And then if I get the opportunity to, I'm running on Sunday for a pro doubles.
Right. That's right. Have you sorted that out yet?
No, but I did finally get an email back from Hyrox about what I have to do to sort it out. I'll talk to you about that after, because I do need to get that sorted away. And once I do, I'll be able to let you know who I'm racing with and what time I'm racing. And we'll figure it out.
For sure.
Teased you the other week that I might have to have you just race with me.
I know, man. 4 days in a row. I don't know if you would want that. You would have to be carrying me for sure.
So just as an aside, this wasn't on our topics here, but I wanted to tell you, I decided yesterday I was going to run 7 by 5 minute thresholds, which I've been very consistent. Like 2 months now, I've gotten all my thresholds and strength runs in every week. Yesterday I went to run I was going to have 7 by 5 minute thresholds, and I decided I'm just going to retest my threshold just to see where it was at. And I undershot where I was going to go. I am not going to bump up my threshold very much.
Okay.
Because it tells me I should be running quicker than I was, but just as a reference, and maybe I'll pop it on here. You know what? We're going to pop it on here. You guys that are on the podcast listening, if you want to go to YouTube and see it, I will show you my lactate threshold graph and how you read it.
Yep.
But I'll verbally talk through it as well. Just really quick, since I did this yesterday, I thought I would share it. All right, so I pulled up my lactate threshold graph, and you can see these are the different times that I've tested. I have really low lactate, and then all of a sudden it spikes up. So if you look over here, like I test around 1 millimole per liter, and then boom, it like shoots up. And you can see like this gray one is my one from yesterday. And I started pretty light, Started at 7.7 miles per hour and then did 8.2, 8.6, 8 or 9.0, 9.3, 9.6, 9.9, 10.2, and then 10.5 miles per hour.
And then, yeah, and that's when it spiked.
And so all the way from the 7.7 until I got to 10.2, my millimoles per liter was below 1.2 millimoles per liter. And then when I hit 10.5, it spiked up to 3.7. But that's really consistent with what I've done in the past too. As you can see, like before, it's been anaerobic threshold around 9.1 was only 1.6 millimoles, and then spikes up at 9.4, it had spiked up to 5.1. So like,
Right.
and you can see the previous one was very similar.
So just quickly, what have you been running your thresholds at, and why are you saying you shouldn't uh go faster?
Well, I've been running them at like 9 point, like right around here,
Yeah.
which was my previous one, but this was from a year ago. And
Yeah.
so I've spent the last 2 months, just like 8 weeks, just running at that point. And you can see that point right here, which kind of makes sense. It was my half marathon pace, is where my aerobic threshold is now.
Yeah.
So like that's my aerobic threshold. So I'm going to keep running around here. So I'll probably run it like a 9.3, 9.4. I won't bump up to 10.0 or 10.2,
Mm, yeah.
but I'll stick around here because that's a huge jump. That's going to be too much for me.
Yeah. And
Anyway.
that and where you're running right now is closer to your aerobic LT1 than
Hmm.
your LT2, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Just checking because that's what exactly you sent me something the other day about that, the purpose of lactic threshold, and that the reason why we run more of our thresholds closer to LT1 than LT2. I'm being your coach right now, Anthony, and telling you stick to the plan, mate. Stick to the plan.
All right. Well, I like that. And that actually brings us into our first topic. But before we get there, I want to discuss our little roadmap for what we are looking at today. First, we're going to go on this statement that JK wrote down, the longest thing he's ever written, apparently, on aerobic fitness. We have our sport to hybrid fitness racing number 4. That's today we're going to do running and basically the miler. So somebody that runs a fast mile. We're going to talk a little bit, JK, because we're going to prod each other about Team Australia versus Team USA.
I like it.
Both
I like
teams have been
it.
announced, so we're going to discuss that. Maybe we make a little wager. Listener
Yep.
questions. We have still a whole bunch of listener questions. We got a couple more, so we'll dive into those, make sure we answer some of them. One of them in particular was asking how to qualify for world championships in their age group, and I just wanted to review some of the numbers behind that.
Yep.
Um, and then we have some embarrassing stories we might tell, followed by somebody asked what to do for the off season, or if you're not racing until the spring. What should they be doing now, or what should they be doing after World Championships?
Yep.
Our
Sounds
roadmap.
good.
So we're gonna start, JK, with your aerob the you titled this the crucial role of aerobic base training.
Yeah, and for the listeners, I wrote this about 3 months ago when I started working for Proven, and the reason behind writing this was more so because I wanted to make sure that the Proven team understood the crucial role of aerobic based training, and pretty much telling them that, okay, like, we're training for Hyrox here and not CrossFit, and how important it is to actually kind of change thought processes behind how much more important aerobic based training is than anything else. All right. So wrote this about 3 months ago, the crucial role of aerobic based training. In my experience, the primary factor contributing to subpar race performances is a lack of solid aerobic foundation. The human body's aerobic system is a complex high performance engine that requires patience, dedication, and time to develop. While our anaerobic and glycolytic systems provide the initial burst of energy, a well developed aerobic system is essential for sustaining high intensity efforts over extended periods. This is particularly critical for Hyrox athletes who require the endurance to power through a demanding series of exercises. The benefits of a strong aerobic base are twofold. Not only does it enable athletes to perform at a higher intensity for longer, but it also provides a lasting foundation for endurance. Unlike strength and anaerobic abilities, which can deteriorate quickly if not maintained, a well developed aerobic system can remain robust for an extended period. To develop a strong aerobic base, it's essential to start training early and progressively. The key is to begin with manageable intensities and gradually increase the demands as your body adapts. A useful guideline is to aim to run for at least the duration you expect to complete a Hyrox race. This doesn't necessarily mean you need to achieve this pace as fast as possible initially. The primary focus is on building endurance. As you progress, you'll be able to develop faster paces at a distance of 5K or 10K. From there, you can gradually increase the duration and intensity of your workouts, incorporating longer, low intensity runs to further enhance your aerobic base. Remember, building a strong aerobic foundation takes time, patience, and persistence. By prioritizing aerobic based training, you'll be well on your way to unlocking your endurance potential and achieving success in Hyrox competitions.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
for anyone on YouTube, or if you have the video on Spotify, which you can do, I have the statement up on the screen right now. You can see that, right, JK?
I can now, yep.
So if you want to go pause and read through it again so you can listen to what JK said, or if you're on the podcast, you might want to rewind that a couple times just to re-listen to the way he stated it and what he emphasized.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony, for that. I guess what are your thoughts?
I think a strong aerobic base is exactly what people need, because I think you're right on here. It enables athletes to perform longer at high intensity, but in addition, it also allows more work to be done, so that you can perform more, you can do more, you can do better in your training as well. But I like your statement, um, because I do think the aerobic base is exactly that. It's the base. It needs to be the foundation of what we do.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think anyone like an example is like someone who does a lot of endurance training? Do you think anyone can get to a point where they can't get any more aerobic base or build their like you get to a point where you can't actually get more aerobically fit?
Um, so like we've talked about before, you can only train as much as you can recover. And what we're finding as well is that in our training theory, right, that you can only train as much as you can recover, and you can only train as hard as you can fuel. So right now, I could see it as you could literally, if you can fuel and recover your training, your base can keep growing.
Can you just you can only train as hard as you can recover
You can only train as much as you can recover,
and
and you can only uh, train as hard as you can fuel.
man, did you make that up or did you steal that from someone?
I mean, that's what we've said before, right? I just
I
put it in
know,
words.
but I love it. You can only train as much as you can recover, and you can only train as hard as you can fuel.
Yeah. So the
That's so
volume,
good.
like, what's the purpose, right? Everybody, a lot of everybody, the world talks about to be proficient, to be a professional, an expert at something, you have to get 10,000 hours of it, right?
Yeah.
And in training, what's that limited by? What is your training volume limited by? It's limited because if I train this much one day, I have to like relax this much unless I can recover from that, right? I have to be able to recover. So if I increase the volume, I have to increase the recovery, or I have to find more efficient ways of recovering.
Yeah.
And the same thing though is like I can only put as much intensity into my training, that volume that I'm doing. I can only get as much in there as that I can propel forward with food. Like with,
Yeah.
and recently I think it's fantastic that companies like the Feed have jumped into this space simply because of this, more efficient, better ways of fueling. Um, because you want to eat real food, but you need to get all of your macronutrients. You need to like sustain and fuel your body. And so, yeah, you're running your engine hard, but you can keep growing as long as you can fuel your work and as long as you can recover from the
Yeah.
volume.
Yeah.
Um,
I
that
like it.
is the main driver, right? And that gets you to the 10,000 hours much quicker. Like you can get 10,000 hours over 10 years, or you can get 10,000 hours over 3 years,
Yeah.
whatever it is, like just takes time. And I do think, I like that you put in here that, I can't find it right now, but I know you said it, the aerobic base takes time.
Takes
Like
time,
there is no
patience.
substitute. It's not going to be 6 weeks. It's not going to be 8 weeks. It's not going to be 6 months. Like it takes consistency, long-term consistency of years. And you want to
Yeah.
talk about years, like, I mean, JK, when is the last day you didn't run?
Well, Sunday.
Well, okay, purposely.
So, yeah, like I haven't had an off run day in at least 2 to 3 years now. Yeah. Yeah. Now, like I could ask the same question to you about Lauren, right? Like, when was the last time she purposely didn't run?
I could count on one hand the number of times she didn't run last year, and that was because of sickness.
Yeah. Right.
Probably this year too. So, like, and that doesn't mean a hard effort every day. It doesn't mean thresholds every day. Like, it's just, it's the aerobic base. It is literally the zone one, zone two, like, just movement. Just keep your blood flowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, there
guys,
you go.
if anybody has any comments on this statement that JK read aloud, um, let us know. I'm curious what your thoughts and opinions are on it. Do you think are you in the camp that's no, you can just do anaerobic stuff 5 days a week and you'll have a better base? Like I remember several years ago, I think it was um, I had tried it out. I think it was the 4 Hour Body book that had come out back in what was that, 2008,
Yeah. Yeah.
2009. Um, in that book, they talk about training for a marathon by only ever running 400s hard and never doing over a 8 or 10 mile run.
Wow.
Um, and it's just like, yeah, this is the indicator. If you just go do 20 by 400, you'll know where you're going to be in the marathon because you just keep upping the speed that you're going to run at. And maybe, but I mean, where's your base? Where's
Mm,
your impact resistance? Where's your time on feet? You know, time under tension's a really big thing.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I like the statement, JK. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
All right. Speaking of, we just talked a little bit about running. You talked about the aerobic base.
Hmm.
Um, we're gonna play our hypothetical scenario here. Sport to hybrid fitness racing number four. JK, we're gonna do this one a little differently. I'm gonna tell you, hey, I'm a high school kid. I just graduated. I want to go into Hyrox and show these chumps who I am because I can run a 355 mile.
Okay.
I'm
Fast.
fastest man. These guys don't know what running is.
Hmm.
Train me. What are you gonna do?
I'd first and foremost,
Please chide me for my arrogance.
yeah, try. I'll try to incorporate a little bit of humility. Number one, by trying to give understanding about, hey, like, great that you have speed. And that speed, anyone that can run a sub 4 minute mile is fast. But I'm assuming they haven't done a lot of easy aerobic work. Now, here's the thing, Anthony. I personally think the guys that I follow that are track and field or track athletes that are fast, it seems to me that they don't actually do a lot of the easy stuff that even myself and a lot of other Hyrox athletes do. So the first and foremost thing is just get them into a nice, structured, easy aerobic structure throughout a week, and that is not just running, but on those bloody machines, as we always talk about. Get them to understand how to use their body in other modalities aerobically, because they're probably doing or have done a lot of anaerobic work. And hey, if you're just high school, you're 17, 18 years of age, your body probably can right now recover really well doing anaerobic stuff, but it's not going to be like that forever. So on top of that, I think it's very similar to a lot of the other sports we've spoken about, right? It's getting them familiar with the movement patterns, not slamming them with stations, the sleds and stuff right from where to go. It's just getting them moving in all biomechanical planes of motion. But if you've been a runner at high school, I'm assuming you haven't done a lot of strength training, like pure strength training. So I believe there would be a structure we would have to put in place for, a very solid push pull squat, unilateral, like one-legged strength progression to start out with as well. So it's interesting because there's a part of me that says if you've come from a track background going into Hyrox, you've got some potential, right? Because you've been a runner. But to me, it's actually somewhat harder because you've got to change the way you're running. You got to change your probably more so your mentality behind. Okay, I'm not going all out all the time here. I need to slow down. Um, and then also adding the strength, the functional movements. So that's what I would get you to do, Anthony, and it would probably take 5 years for you to actually grasp that, not 5 months. Not 5 months. Thoughts, opinions?
Well, first off, I want to say we said a 355 mile, guys, which that's an equivalent to a 226 kilometer.
Oh yeah.
So
Which
this
I
person
would,
knows how to run.
yeah,
Um,
not
I
touching.
liked what you said. I wouldn't stop them from running, and I wouldn't stop them from accessing their high foot speed. I would, however, primarily put them on the machines for their aerobic base.
Okay.
Um, I would probably do a lot of ski and row because if they've never been on that, their time on there would be essential to their progress.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably do a lot of machine work on aerobic base. Well, never stopping that, I would say this person probably needs to learn a lot of like you talked about unilateral single leg movement stuff.
Okay.
Um, because in high rocks that transfers over a lot. You have your lunges, your single leg weighted in your farmer carry, by the way. You're not
Yeah.
always two legs on the ground. It's most of the time is spent with one leg. As well as the sled push. You're pushing usually with one leg at a time, not
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Uh, And so you're walking back on the sled pull, so you have a double then single leg movement there. There's a lot of transferability. So doing that as well as their raw strength, I'd have to assess and figure out. And so absolutely, I would never stop their running. Probably still have them run. They probably have great speed and great anaerobic capabilities
Yeah.
in explosive movements. You need to be able to, like we talked about, hit that aerobic base though, and you need to be able to, yeah, just take time building the required amount of strength. And it doesn't have to be peak maxes. I wouldn't be going for big maxes. I'd start to try to get them to control body weight loads externally.
Yeah.
Uh, so, runners that are about that size, they might be 140, 150 pounds. Um, and so I'd want them to control that amount of weight in power cleans and back squats and
Yeah.
just be able to move that amount of weight in a lot of different modalities.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's interesting how you think a lot of the zone two should be on the erg. So is that because you don't want them to change their not cadence, but their, yeah, as you said, their foot speed?
No, I want them to get time on the ergs.
Mm.
Somebody that's run that much, like literally just needs the time on the ergs. They can do their zone one, zone two easy work as light jogs as well. Uh, but most of the time, it might just be, hey, you need 60 minutes of easy work today. I want you to rotate between jogging and skiing and rowing,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes on each, or like 5 minutes on each. Rotate through four
Yeah.
times.
Mm. Mm.
Just because they just need the practice on the ergs and staying within that. And um, once they're able to get the skill of it down a little bit, uh, hammering that pattern,
Would be.
um,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of limitations in runners, mostly with mobility. So they need to be able to access different ranges of motion. And guys, when I talk about range of motion, there's flexibility, right? Which is your ability like to touch your toes. How far can you stretch the muscle? And then there's mobility. We talk about mobility. Mobility is the strength through the range of motion. So can you squat as much when you're at your deepest point as you can when you only touch parallel, right?
Right.
Do you have strength through the full range of motion of your knee and hip joints?
Yeah.
So
That's why, correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhat strength and resistance training is the best form of mobility training. Would you agree with that?
strength training is fantastic mobility training.
For mobility, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's requiring yourself to actually get into positions with that load that you potentially wouldn't be able to without the load, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
They're forcing the position, but like don't get stuck there. So talking about a squat, like full range of motion on the squat, go down until you can't go down anymore with good form. Like if you have a serious butt wink, like don't risk your back. Uh, but if you can maintain, uh, if you have more closure in the knee joint than you currently stop at and come back up, go to the full depth. Make sure you can squat that full depth for now.
yeah,
That's going to be the primary thing. We're not doing a one rep max for pure strength. You're not a power
yeah,
lifter, uh,
yeah,
not a weightlifter. Like your goal needs to be moving medium to moderate weights a lot.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Anything you want to add on getting this mile runner to be an amazing Hyrox racer?
Not really, no. Not that I've already said. Just I'll add, like, if anyone, I wonder if there'll be a day where we're actually seeing a Hyrox athlete do sub 3 minute kilometers. That's crazy.
That's something that I've had on our list of podcast topics to do, and eventually we will. I want to, I've written up before, but I want to do an analysis of what is the absolute fastest time that a male
Good.
will ever be able to perform a Hyrox, a standard
Yeah.
race, and a female.
Yeah.
I've done it before, um, but yeah, I'd love to go over that actually on one of these podcasts. So maybe I'll add it to a future topic.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
guys out there, if you would like to suggest one of these sport to hybrid fitness racing, if you have a sport you think we should look into and determine how that type of athlete would translate into for running a Hyrox or any other hybrid fitness race, please send it in, let us know. And on that note, I'm going to ask everybody if they can leave us a review or leave us a rating. We're doing pretty good on Spotify in terms of ratings. But if you guys have just 1 minute to leave us a review, hit the three little dots button, scroll down, makes it easy, no matter what platform you're on, helps spread us out there. Trying to bring you guys as much free content as we can. So it'd be nice to get a couple of ratings and reviews and let us know if we're doing what you like. And if you want to leave a comment and give us any suggestions or ask questions, we're always open and here for it.
Yeah.
Additionally, thinking of that, we did have a review that I'm going to read. Uh, and I'm going to actually name who this review is from because JK, I just went on his podcast and I think you were next up on his podcast, and that's John Get Strong.
Done. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Nice.
So I'm going to read his review. He left this on episode 52. Congrats on the year of podcasting, guys. The best Hyrox podcast out there. Really love the segment on sport to Hyrox. Football background myself, and the hardest has been developing enough shoulder strength for those wall balls.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I've been meaning to listen to your podcast with John, and I am going to be on his very soon. So
He
um
asked a lot of questions about you.
yeah, I heard that actually. So no, that's great. Thank you, John, and thanks for the review.
All right. We'll get to some listener questions here in a minute. Before we do, JK, are you gonna cry when Team USA beats Team Australia?
I was waiting for how you're going to present this. Um, not as much as you will when we beat your ass. Um,
Is that because I'll still be happy for you? Is that
yeah, well, that's the thing. There's a part of you that has a kind of not necessarily a win-win, but let's just say it that way, right? Um,
And
you're,
guys, there's a lot of good teams out there. We just like joking
yeah,
around with each other between Australia and USA. They
yeah,
not to say that those are the only two teams that have a shot. I
not at
mean,
all.
there's a lot of good teams out there. Germany looks really strong too.
Germany looks strong.
But there's a ton of good teams. I'm just messing around with
Yeah,
JK here because I know
yeah.
he's been
No,
announced on the team.
yeah, it got announced today as Joanna Wetrick being the captain, Jess Petro being the other female, James Newbury, one of the males, and lucky enough to go again myself as well. So we're excited. We're very excited. So it will be interesting on the Friday instead of the Saturday or the last race of the weekend, I guess, for us. So not that matters in my eyes, but
I like it. I don't see what the complaint is about it. Like, because a
I
lot of
don't know.
people are leaving Sunday. This is gonna have everybody still at the venue. Like, it's an
Yeah,
exciting time to see. Um,
I like it.
and you guys are athletes. Like, you're gonna compete. You know,
Exactly.
what
Exactly.
it's for most of you guys, like we just talked about. As long as you're fueling your effort and you're recovering the way that you guys know how to recover, like there's no there's not a lot that it would ever take away from your doubles race.
Negative. And
So
look, I don't want to go into that too much, but I do have my opinions, but I'm just going to say like a 2K all out effort on the Friday night will get my body back into like fast running again, or I'll just feel good. And then depending on the stations that I got to do, like like I'm gonna be fine on Saturday. I'm gonna be
So,
totally fine.
so I just have one question for you, and I'll cut this out if you don't want to answer.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
well, I already know what you're gonna ask me, and no, yeah, go.
no, you don't know what I'm going to ask you because I was going to ask you if you were captain, would the team be the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
it would be, and you don't have to cut that out. But and actually, I don't want you to cut that out. Yeah, it definitely would be. In my eyes, yeah, it definitely would be.
Okay. If now when you go do this, are you now this is the one you we don't have to talk about it. I can cut this out too.
I
Are
know what
you
you're about to say now. I reckon.
are you doing a machine?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure,
Those look
Anthony.
like the most painful stations to me. Like just the run into either machine seems like the most miserable station there is.
Do you think? Okay, all right. So you think out of the eight stations, those two stations would be the worst?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just mental, but like the idea that I can still feel like I'm working hard and it might look like I'm working hard if I was doing something like lunges because I'm going like, oh, I think I'm going as fast as I can. I really maybe you could go faster, but if you got really tired, you could still slow it down a little and still look like you're going quick. If
Yeah.
you get one of those machines, you can't. The number is right there in front of you. It tells
Yeah.
you how hard you
True.
are or
Oh,
are not
I didn't
going.
even think about that. It actually tells you. So
Like
yeah,
if you are dead and you are sandbagging, it's telling you, hey, you're sandbagging.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, if you were in a relay team, Anthony, I would say that you would do. Oh no, you definitely do the burpees.
Yeah, maybe. I'd probably do the burpees.
You jump. You'd only have to do 20 burpees for the 80 meters.
As long as my
um,
heart didn't explode out of my chest after the run, yeah.
yeah, and you'd probably do the sled push.
Those might be too close together for me.
True.
I need as much separation as possible. So,
Yeah.
I'd actually probably be a skier. I don't want to be, but I'd probably
Okay.
have to
Yeah.
do a skier and
Yeah.
I'd probably have to do something separated from that. Maybe I'd be able to recover in time to do a burpee. Um, if not the burpees, then probably the lunges.
Yeah.
And that's a good separation for me. Stations 1 and 7 should have about 30 minutes in the middle there.
On that topic, on that, I guess knowing us as athletes, right? And you can right now you can think of the American team and the Australian team, right? What do you think is the most or the least amount of time that we need in between our own stations? Does that make sense?
You guys, I
Yeah.
think so. Here's the thing. Most of you guys, it's a 1K. It's a thing like even the shortest station, which is farmer carry, is going to be like 5.5 minutes. Any of you guys can recover from any of those stations within that amount of time.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
Um, 5.5 minutes is more rest than I've ever given you for anything.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
Correct.
um, that's full recovery.
Mm. Do you think it would be silly to go to do two stations after another?
2 in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, hey, well, if you want to make the Americans win by a larger margin, that's up to you.
Hey, tactics are tactics, man. We'll just have to wait and see. Have to
Yeah.
wait and see. It'll be interesting. I don't think we'll have to kind of announce or like give give who's doing what until probably the week of. I'm assuming.
I would assume that for the relay, like the way they did it last year, is you had to tell them ahead of time, like a week or two ahead of time, whether it was a male or female doing the stations, but not who was doing it. And you actually
Gotcha.
didn't have to say who was doing what. You just had to say male or female on which stations
Right.
because
Yeah,
that
that's
they
right.
need to know how many to set up for like
If
with the
male would.
sleds or the weights or whatever the change is going to be and know where to send people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, it'll be good. I'm excited.
All right. Um, okay. You guys let us know. Do you think Team USA or Team Australia is going to win?
Or anyone else.
Yeah. Or, you can have other opinions too. Whether
Yeah,
you're right or
exactly.
not, we'll see. But
Yeah. Has
uh,
the English team been announced yet?
I don't think they have been. So I'm not going to say.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
Yeah.
Because they are the reigning champs, apparently. So they're the ones to beat.
They won last year. We know at least one of them is not on the team. That's Sandy. He's
Yeah.
hurt. So,
Yeah.
all right. And speaking of world champs, I had a question that I want to talk about. Uh, did I copy the question down? Oh yeah, here it is. Question for podcast. Maybe this is an individual one. What does it take to qualify for world championships in the age group? I ran a 1 hour, 16 minute in the open and finished in the top 10% of my age group for the first race in March. I'm 41 years old. I'm well placed. I felt great and could have gone harder. However, pro is clearly different, and strength is not my strength. Am I delusional to think I could qualify? I've listened to I've listened enough to you and JK to know it depends. I'm okay with hearing some tough truths, but I'm curious how much training it would take and how long it would take. For reference, I trained for 12 weeks, specifically Hyrox, and built to 20 to 25 miles.
Great. It's a great thank you for the question. And also I got excited there because she said the first thing, it depends. And as if you are listening to this right now and you've listened to a lot of our episodes, you'll understand that most of the answers are it depends, right? But Anthony, I know you know some data points behind, okay, if you did want to, qualify for the world championship in your age group, what do you have to do? Um,
Right. So, guys, just as a reference, Hyrox just put out their numbers up to this point in the season, and they put out what they expected at the beginning of the season. And those are right on. They're actually a little ahead of it. So Hyrox expected 550,000 athletes will have competed in Hyrox in this season. So from
wow.
last June to the World Championships. 550,000 athletes. They posted last week before Berlin that over 500,000 athletes had already competed this season.
Wow.
So they only needed 50,000 more. And then they had Berlin. They have, uh, what's the race this weekend? Bangkok. And then
Yeah.
there's a 4 race weekend in the 2 weeks before Worlds that includes New York, Rimini, Riga, and Cardiff. And
Wow.
Cardiff and New York will definitely be big.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to reach that 550,000 athletes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They also
Absolutely.
posted recently that 4,500 athletes qualified to be at the World Championships. That's not
Wow.
just individuals. So that's total qualifications between all age groups, individuals, doubles, relay,
Mhm.
um, in all divisions. And that does, I'm assuming that's total racing spots, not just like, so it would double count somebody who qualified in multiple races.
Right.
But 4,500, we'll say 4,500 athletes out of over 550,000 competing. That means that if you wanted to qualify for the World Championships, you had to be in the 0.8%, the top 0.8, 99.2 percentile in
Mm.
order to qualify. Uh, which this person that asked this question said they were in the top 10%. That doesn't mean they can't make it.
No.
There's a little ways to go to be able to reach that point. And we know that next year you can't qualify out of an open race. You can only qualify out of a pro race.
Yeah.
So that's an important factor to consider.
Yeah. Sorry, Anthony. Did the person have a name?
I didn't copy their name.
That's
I
right.
looked it
That's right.
off.
If you're
I don't
listening,
know if people like to be.
yeah, true. But if you are listening to this and we've read out your question right, the my biggest kind of answer to it is, well, there's only one way to find out. You've got nothing to lose, and you've got everything to gain having a go at a pro weight. Now, you say that your strength isn't your strength, but you don't need strength for a pro race. Full stop period. You can disagree with that, but what I'm saying is if you follow a pretty structured Hyrox style um, overall fitness based program, and you are starting to develop more confidence with the pro weight, you're going to be fine. Um, I'll be honest with you, if you actually sent that question into us, you're already thinking about it, you're already on the verge of, okay, like, should I, like, start training for a pro? Well, you've already answered your own question. You should have a crack because you'll actually, you don't want to get to a point where you wish you had to go, right. We back you in, but as Anthony just said, it's only going to get tougher and tougher to get a world spot as well.
And I think the numbers that I got from here, pulling them off the Hyrox stories and websites, um, I believe they said only the top 1% get the world's invite. But with like those who accepted and those who didn't in the roll downs, it's only the 0.08 of a percent, which
That
means like very exclusive. And this made me go on as well to what does it take? What does it take to actually be part of world champs age group? But what does it take to be part of any elite field? So individual, relay, or doubles. So in order to be part of those elite fields, you have to be in the 0.031% or the 99.969 percentile.
oh
So of everybody that's competed in a Hyrox, 99.969% of them will not be on the elite field. And if you want to talk about the individual athletes, what does it take to be one of the individual elite 15 male or female athletes? You have to be in the 0.0054%. So what that means is you have to be in the thousandth of a percent to be in the field. That's 99.995 percentile.
wow, that's crazy.
It's extremely exclusive.
Mm.
But like you said, absolutely think that people you can strive to be in these groups. It's going to get tougher and tougher, and it's going to keep getting more difficult. I think a big part of it is like as more people come in, one thing you need to do is that everybody's improving. So you have to improve at a faster rate than everybody else is improving.
Yeah,
And that's not exactly
yeah,
easy, but I think that is something where coaches come in, people experience that they share. And so if you're trying to do it by yourself, you know, the experience of a coach is helping somebody else, they can also help you. And like I've said before, it doesn't have to be one on one. There are literally programs. We put out programs too. Like there are programs that are designed to get you where you want to go. And it does not need to be as individualized, but I understand the reason and people asking for it.
for sure.
Um,
Yep,
now,
sure.
this question actually and like doing these numbers brought me into something else, JK, with how exclusive and how hard it is to actually qualify. Do you think they got the qualifications correct this year for the Elite 15?
Um, I'm gonna ask you: are you talking about the qualification to, like? Are you saying the 15 male,
Is
15 female?
everybody that should be in the Elite 15 in the Elite 15?
I'm gonna say potentially, like, I'm going to say 95 to 99% of the Elite 15 field is in my opinion like the field that should be there.
Yeah.
Um,
And so this is something we talked about is like there's a lot of speculation right now in the community just about should there be a different way to qualify and what should that system be?
mm, mm.
And what does that mean for these athletes who, like, if you don't know what the system is, you don't know what's coming up, and you're expecting it to be the same, is it going to be fair to you if it changes when you've been running under these rules that you're assuming it's the same way to qualify as it was this year?
Yeah, the like just on that though, Anthony, the first thing that came into my head was, well, for me personally, if the rules change, I change with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe I won't. Let's just hypothetically they do change. Yeah, maybe like I'll have a moment where it's like, okay, like I've got to get my head switched on to the new rules. But guess what? If you if you want to get the most out of yourself, you change with the sport. Um, you don't let it affect you because if you if you let it affect you, then you're wasting your time and energy when you can be putting that towards your own fitness, your own performance to get you into the 15 in the first place. Now, look, that's a very, I don't know what type of answer is that. That's a very harsh answer, I guess. Like it could potentially come across harsh, but that's my honest answer. Like if it changes or if you don't like it, then um, that's also okay. Maybe like getting back the love for the actual sport is your priority. But here's the thing, like there's too much criticism towards Hyrox when they've done a magnificent job so far and they're doing their best. In my opinion, they can't please everyone and yeah, try try and think to yourself how can you how can you play their game or how can you play with them, not against them.
Yeah. And I think that's super important because like, we've heard everything about the like Berlin course and everything, and I don't want to get into that because everybody has their own opinion on that. And I think, people still had to go there and run that time, so they deserve to have it. But like you and I had talked a little bit before about the people that should be there, they're gonna be there. uh, they find a way to get it done. And whether that means that, like, no matter what the qualification system is, they're going to put themselves in position to be on that start line. Uh, and that's not the whole 15. The whole 15 might not be right, but I tell you what, eight of them, half the field, seven of them, like they would be there no matter what the
No
system was.
matter what.
Uh, and then the rest, like, yeah, maybe somebody that probably could finish 10th at Worlds doesn't make it because the qualification system doesn't work out quite right.
Yeah.
But, that's somebody else that would have been 11th is in, So um yeah, it's a little jumbled, and yeah, those bubble athletes, like, they have a hard time uh getting into it, but there are the people, and I just went through real quick while you're talking too. There are the athletes that would have qualified multiple times over this season
Yeah.
at multiple different races, uh, meaning that they beat the roll down, right?
Yeah.
Um, on the men's and women's side, there's like five women on that would have qualified at or been qualified at multiple races this year, and those five women are Lauren, Johanna, Lauren Griffith, Kate Davey, and Lucy Proctor.
Mm.
Like, and Linda Meyer too.
Mm.
Like, those people would have qualified at multiple different stages this year. So obviously they're the people that like deserve to be in there. They should be in there no matter what. Uh,
Yeah.
and then on the men's side, I went through it too. You, Tim, Bo, Paleo. Um, you guys all had opportunities to qualify multiple times,
Mm,
and you would have been in qualifying positions if it didn't roll down past you. So,
yeah,
like, those are the people that really, no matter what the qualification process is, you're gonna find a way.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
Um, cool. I don't know how much time you have, but we have more topics and questions. We can do either or, but before we do, there is one thing. Do you have more time? Sorry.
Probably only about 5 minutes.
All right, JK, then tell me your most embarrassing story while running or doing a Hyrox.
Okay. Oh, mine. It's like, look. Um, I've done a well, my easy runs, my long runs, right? I've had multiple times where, let's just say, like, I've had to um, go off to the side of the rainforest and alleviate myself, um, and without any help, let's just call it. So, and then having to finish my run is not an enjoyable um,
It's not.
enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So you that's good. You live in Australia too, and there's a lot of things out there that are in the bush that want to kill you or are
yeah.
poisonous, right?
That's right.
You
So
got to be careful about what plant you grab to wipe.
That's exactly right. So, mate, like that's probably it. Like, but like, all right, that's more case than not sometimes.
That's funny.
Um, what about you?
I I mean I'm just an embarrassing to myself all the time, but um no, I see you stole mine. I was gonna say a story like that, but I gotta tell you, I'll preface it with this. Guys, if you feel like you're running and you're like, I kind of gotta go, and there's a bathroom right there, and you're like, but there's another one coming up, just go to the
Take the
one right
bath.
away. Take the
Yeah,
opportunity.
take the
Don't
bathroom.
risk it.
Don't
Go
risk
for it.
it.
Because I remember this was maybe like 8 months ago. Back when I was living in Utah, I used to run a route, and there was a library on the route, and I ran like 7, 8 miles, and I was like, I passed a bathroom, and I was like, oh, there's a library coming up in about a mile. Like, I'll just stop there. Well, I didn't think I was running on like a Sunday afternoon or something. And I got there and the library was closed. And
Oh
then I
no.
had like 2.5 miles to get home. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Because I didn't want to turn around and run a whole nother mile back. Well, ended up getting about another mile and a quarter, mile and a half out. Um, and it didn't make it.
You
It
didn't.
didn't make it. It started to rain and
Oh no.
I didn't make it, and I ended up got dark too because it gets dark pretty early at that time of
Yeah.
year, and I ended up having to call Lauren and be like, "Can you just come pick me up?"
And did she come pick you up?
She came and picked me up, but I wasn't allowed to sit on the seat, so I kind of just had to like maneuver how I was sitting in the car.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and if you're a runner, you probably know what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Oh, guys, this wasn't sparked out of nowhere. I don't think I went over this. Somebody asked one of the questions like that they had what they'd done. I Sorry, I'll read the question. Um, oh, I don't want to spend the time looking for this. Sorry, this wasn't sparked out of nowhere, guys. This was
No,
actually
no,
from
no,
a
no.
question. But if you guys have your own stories and you want to share them, I'll read them anonymously on here. If you have a funny story about what
Please,
happened to you.
please.
Um, but yeah, man, that happens so often. So everybody, don't feel bad if that happens to you.
No.
Like it's happened to all of us at some point.
Join the club.
Uh,
Join the club.
had to go off the trail and relieve yourself. Like it's very common.
That's right.
Movement creates movement. So
That's right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
yeah. Um, all right, we got a lot of questions still to go over. Jesus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 still in queue. So we
Nine.
can get more
Okay.
of those. Guys, if you have any questions or if you'd like to leave us a review or a rating, please do. If you leave us a review, and I'll read it on here as well if you'd like us to. But I appreciate all of you guys taking the time to listen. If you haven't yet, you guys should go check out our Wednesday live show.
Yeah, for sure.
That is at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays Pacific time or Thursdays at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern time. It's live. You can always watch it afterwards. It's called Beyond the Grid. And this past week, so this week, yesterday at the time of this recording, we had a guest on that was Tom Rogers. And 2 weeks ago, we had Jess Petro and Maria Fetchik. And the week before that, JK was on it. So, guys, it's a lot of fun. We go over as much as we can in terms of the sporting world of Hyrox versus just the coaching aspect. A little bit more pundit based, and it's developing too. We got newer and cooler things coming out. We're trying to develop the show piece by piece into a better production and get it to be a little bit more fun as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And guys, yeah, thank you for all the questions and listening. Of course, if you want to get in contact, please don't hesitate to reach out on Instagram at jk.jameskelly.
Yeah, guys. And if you want to follow us on all the socials, you can follow my wife on YouTube, but you can also follow the Hybrid Engine. And if you want to go a little sneak peek into JK's camp of training there, you can go follow JK and Georgie Vesley, James Kelly and Georgie Vesley on YouTube
That's it.
as well, or the Hybrid Engine on Instagram. And if you're looking for the lactate threshold testing, Lauren Weeks, my wife, just put one up on YouTube last week, and our next video will come out very soon as well.
Definitely. It's a must watch, that one. So please go check that one out.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
JK.
guys.
Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to reach out and get in contact with us, you can email the Hybrid Coaching Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram, either at the Hybrid Engine or at jk.jameskelly. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.